Hey y'all. So, someone requested after I posted about getting intel on a company that you're interviewing with. This lighting is weird, but anywho, posting about how to get intel on a company you're interviewing with and how important it is. Because remember, you are interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. Um, I talked in that video about figuring out, especially in a sales job, but honestly this works for just about any position, whether it's engineering, whether it's marketing, whether it's product, whether it's project, it doesn't matter. It works for anything. You want to figure out what management is like. You want to figure out what the company culture is like, because again, they can put anything on that company website. You know how many company websites will tell you we're like a family, or we look out for each other, and then you get in there and it is cutthroat and everybody hates each other. Like, really, the only way you will know what a company's culture is like is either after you join the company, which by then is too late, because who wants to then go back onto the job market to try to find another job and restart that, especially in this job market. Or you can talk to someone who is currently working at the company. You can also, check online and that sort of thing, but I really think the most accurate way of getting good information on a company is talking to someone who is currently working there. And bonus points, because if you talk to someone who actually works there and they like you, they're also more likely to give you a referral, which puts you closer to the front of the line when it comes to interviewing and gives you a higher chance of getting a job too. So, that's what I want to talk about today, is how to network with people specifically at companies that you are applying to, so that you have better information on the company, the culture, the pay structure, specifically in sales, how many people are hitting their quota every month, every quarter, every year, etc., etc. So the first thing you want to do is go onto your LinkedIn profile, and in the search bar, search for your, like, the title that you're targeting. If there are already people who are working in the same role, you want to search for that title. So for example, myself as a sales development rep, I would search sales development rep and then filter it by people. So it will only show you people who are sales development reps. And then there's an additional box that you can check where you can filter it by people who only work at that company. So it'll only be sales development reps who work at Oracle, who work at Salesforce, who work at Nvidia, Google, whatever, right? So that's the first thing. Once you find those people, you're going to look at who has, I would say, at least 6 months in the role, but preferably a longer amount of time. Okay, so that could be, a year, could be 2 years, however long. And click on the person's profile, skim it. Most people, well, a good amount of people will have some additional information about themselves in their profile other than just the job. So, for instance, in my profile, I talk about traveling, I talk about being into urban design and starting to watch anime and starting to get back into reading books, that sort of thing. So, you're going to want to send a connection request to that person, and there are a couple different things that, like, a couple different messages that you can send them, right? One can be like a straightforward, hey, I was looking to apply to such and such a company, but I wanted, an insider's take. I wanted kind of a boots on the ground take of what the company is like. I'm like, I'm hearing a car turn the corner and I'm not seeing a car. Anyway, so it could be like that, or it could be like, hey, looking to connect with more SDRs in the tech space or whatever, something like that, right? If if they have a lot on their profile, I would suggest going with the second method, just a general, hey, looking to connect with more people at such and such a company or in such and such a space. If and when they connect with you, that's when the fun starts. Because really, again, if they have stuff in their profile. If they don't have stuff in their profile, we'll talk about that next. But if they have stuff in their profile, talk to them like a regular person. Talk to them like you're on a regular social media platform. So, for example, if the person has that they're into jujitsu, or they really like watching historical dramas, or they just traveled to Europe last summer or whatever, start talking to them about that, right? And then you can always pivot into work stuff. So, hey, I was looking to, uh, pivot into basically the role that you're doing. How are you finding it? And then once you talk about that, go into the next thing. Is this your first, or I noticed this is your first SDR job? How have you found the pivot? Or this is your third company that you've been an SDR at. How do you like working at this company versus the next one? Right. And then once you get to the point where you've built up some rapport, something that I like to do, now, mind you, I haven't done this in a minute because I haven't really been in the job search like that because I'm working for a company now. But something that I did almost every single time is I would ask them for a coffee chat. Now, coffee chats, I get it. They can be cringe sometimes. They can be cringe. They can be uncomfortable. And some of them were uncomfortable. Some people are much more personable. They're much easier to talk to in terms of, talking to strangers and keeping a conversation going and that sort of thing. But either I would request, like, hey, do you have 10 to 15 minutes for a quick Google Meet or for a quick phone call for me to ask you about the role at your company? I saw there was an opening at your company. If they agreed to that, once we had the conversation, a couple things I would do. One is I would ask them, like, hey, is there a referral bonus at your company? If yes, since we've talked a little bit, you've learned a little bit more about what I'm looking for in a company, my previous experience, et cetera, would you feel comfortable giving me a referral? Um, you can handle that however they decide. Whether they say yes or no, one thing I always, always, always did is I would ask them if they were a coffee or tea drinker, and I would send them a virtual gift card for like $10, $15, depending on the person, up to 20. Again, times is tough, and I never told the person that I was doing this ahead of time, so they were never really expecting it. You don't have to, but I do think it's another step you can take to build relationships. And some of the people that I had those coffee chats with, even if I decided to go a completely different direction and not work for that company, it's still a relationship that we have, and we still, like, I still talk to those people somewhat regularly on LinkedIn. So it's a valuable way to maintain a relationship. So that's one way, right? If they have absolutely nothing on their profile, they're probably going to be one of those people on LinkedIn that only sees like the boring AI generated thought leadership stuff anyway. So I go very straightforward. Hey, so and so, saw there was an opening at your company, wanted an insider's view on what it's like working there, and also wanted to see if there was any sort of employee bonus program that you could take advantage of, and if you'd be willing to give me a referral after having a quick chat and learning more about my experience. Very straightforward, pretty short. Don't put all of your experience in that connection request. Well, you can't in the connection request, or in the like initial message. That's a lot. This person doesn't know you. It's going to be annoying. They're not going to read all that. Like, chances are you will not get responses from that. Try to be as succinct as possible. Try to keep it quick and try to keep it to the point. So this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. This is why I'm reaching out to you specifically. And it always helps to reach out to multiple people in the role. Um yeah, so that's one thing I would say. Another thing that you can do that is so underrated is talk to people who worked at that company previously. I would say, again, probably I would probably filter it out by people who were working there within like the last 4 months. Again, depending on the role, but probably about 4 months. So in that same like search filter, You can put current company, you can also put previous company, and you're going to want to search through all those people. It takes a little bit of legwork, but if you search previous company, and again, say you're looking at Oracle, Google, Nvidia, whatever, some of those people who used to work in the role that you're targeting, reach out to them too and say, hey, wanted to get, a really honest opinion or perspective on what it's like to work for this company. Do you mind if we have a quick chat on it? I saw you work there for a year, so you probably have some good insight. And same thing, if they agree to a coffee chat, great. I also like to give people the option to keep it on LinkedIn. Some people don't like talking on the phone, some people don't like Zoom calls, Google calls, whatever. I get it, no big deal. But I would still, if I didn't get on a video call with him, I didn't generally send a gift card personally. You still can if you want to, if you got it like that. I did not. I tried to be a little more budget friendly. But again, that's another way to get really really good insight. And also keep in mind, like, one, you're a stranger reaching out, two, people are busy. I think especially in like sales roles, part of the part of the job, something you have to get used to is sometimes you will send 10 connection requests, only two people accept the connection, and only one person actually responds and says, hey, yeah, super happy to give you, some insight based on my experience. Like, that kind of rejection is just kind of how it works. If it's a company that you're really really interested in joining, absolutely reach out to multiple people. I say reach out to multiple people anyway, but especially if it's a company that you're interested in, reach out to multiple people. Another thing, if for instance you're targeting an SDR role and there are very few SDRs, let's say it's a itty bitty startup and there's only one SDR or two SDRs or whatever, you can also try to see if there are people who have been promoted from SDR. So, is there an AE who was like their founding SDR and now she's an AE, and she just got promoted 6 months ago? She might also be someone good to reach out to. Even though she's not currently an SDR, she knows what it's like to grind and meet her numbers and get to the next step. And somebody like that would also be more likely to have a conversation about their experience. And even if their experience hasn't been negative, it's still good insight to give you. They might tell you, like, yeah, I was able to promote, but I had to work 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, and 3 hours a day on the weekends, right? That's still good insight for you. Um, and there was one more thing that I was just thinking about and I completely forgot. What was it? This is gonna bother me now. Anywho, I'm sure if there are any other tips that I think of, it'll come out in other LinkedIn videos that I have. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is, if possible, if at all possible, try to have a regular conversation with someone before going for the ask. People like being talked to like people. If that's not possible, absolutely be straightforward about it. Don't don't do the like fake niceness thing. Uh yeah. So if somebody has something on their profile, absolutely they probably want to talk about it. If they don't, just go for the straight ask. I think that's it. Yeah, there are generally lots of different options of people you can reach out to at the company. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any more specific questions, feel free to ask. Happy to make a video about it. This is something that has worked a lot, even for like dream companies. I do that even like preemptively. Like, I will message people and be like, I'll message people and be like, hey, uh, especially like talent people. or other like sales managers and stuff, be like, hey, not reaching out for any specific reason. I just think your company is super, like, would be super exciting to work for. There's no current opening now, but I want to keep in touch for when there is an opening. Yeah, because you never know when companies will be hiring for the position that you're looking for. And to me, if you're doing things preemptively, one, it's like very it can be very impressive to a potential company. Like it's less fake than, when you usually reach out to somebody and it's like, why do you want to work here? It's like, because I want money. uh it's much more authentic when it's like, no, I connected with you 3 months ago because I knew that this was a company I really wanted to work for, based on what your employees post, based on what leadership posts, based on, the fact that it seems like you guys do regular company offsites, or I see your employees posting about how they actually feel appreciated here, and I was looking at your benefits, I really liked it, I've used your product for years, whatever it is. That's so much more authentic, and it speaks so much better. It resonates so much more with the company if you do that preemptively. So that's another tip as well. Whether you're on the job search or not, if you find a company that you really, really like, it cannot hurt to connect with people at the company and start those conversations. That way, once there is an opening, you're already top of mind. You already have, a conversation going with the recruiter. You already have a back and forth on the sales manager's post. You already, have joked with the current SDRs about hitting quota or not hitting quota, or, some industry event or whatever. So yeah, I think that's my final tip. I'm gonna let y'all go. I've been yapping too long. I'm ready to go inside. I gotta pack. So hopefully that was helpful. If you don't know, my name is Alexis. I post almost every single day here on YouTube about furthering your career, breaking into tech, navigating big life decisions, travel. Just got back from Costa Rica, so I was very excited about that. Yeah, so if this resonates with you, if you found these tips helpful, I am happy to share more networking tips, more job search tips, more help for this crazy job market tips. Yeah, so hopefully that was helpful, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.